Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Mickey 17. And this movie came out in 2025, and it's directed by Bong Joon-ho, starring Robert Pattinson. And I thought this movie was pretty good, and I love Bong Joon-ho movies for the most part. I mostly love his Korean language films over his English language films, like The Host, Mother, and Parasite. I really love, but I have seen Snowpiercer and Okja, and I liked Okja. I thought Okja was pretty good, but Snowpiercer is the only one that I don't like. I know, hot take. I just find it to be kind of dull. But going into my positives, I really loved Robert Pattinson in this movie, and the comedy in this movie I thought was pretty funny, and it worked for me consistently. And also, Robert Pattinson's voice as Mickey 17 in this movie was very funny. And if you've seen enough promotional material, then I think you'll know what the concept of the movie is and what he has to do and to perform throughout the movie. And the way they pull it off is pretty fun and unique and clever, and just done so in a way that I really enjoyed. I also really enjoyed the music in this film. It stood out as kind of different and kind of reminded me somewhat of the soundtrack to Parasite at a couple moments. I was just kind of thinking of that while watching the movie when it came to the music. And it didn't pull me out of the movie or anything. And I don't take off points for that. It's just a little bit different from what I'm used to. And it was done so in a way that I feel as though is a compliment to the film. I also like the commentary of the film and what it's trying to say, and it is trying to do a lot of things, and we'll get into that later, but the commentary of the film is pretty clear, kind of on the nose, like not very subtle at all if you ask me, but still I do appreciate it being there, and if it wasn't there, then I don't know if the movie would work nearly as much. The movie is also very well shot and reminded me of other Bong Joon-ho movies in terms of how those movies are shot. And this definitely felt like one of his movies in terms of the visual presentation of the film and how information was communicated visually, how long the shots would go on for, and it just overall looked really great. I also like the design of the creatures in this movie that are called creepers, which is kind of funny. And I also thought the visual effects on them looked pretty good. The designs of them looked a little bit like the host that he directed. And there was a couple of moments that reminded me of Okja a little bit. There's also plenty of memorable scenes in this movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. There's lots of narration in this movie because it is trying to establish a lot of things in this movie that is part of its world. And I thought it did a good job at doing that. However, I do feel as though one thing that this movie lacked was trying to develop everything out in a way that made everything feel as though it needed to be there. Because there are some characters and minute plot lines that just go nowhere and don't need to be there. Not saying that the movie was slow. I'm just saying that after a certain point, it kind of felt like, okay, what was the point of that? And that's really one of my biggest issues with this movie is that some things just went nowhere and could have been developed a lot better. And Mark Ruffalo, he was my least favorite performance in the entire movie. Most of the acting's great, and the movie has a great cast, but unfortunately, he kind of stands out as the odd one out. And he kind of pulls off the ignorant, dumb, stupid politician character. That's kind of what he's trying to be, but he doesn't really pull off anything else in this role, which kind of bugged me because I just couldn't take him seriously. And also, the third act of the movie did feel rushed in a way that we just need to wrap this up, so let's just wrap it up. And I was kind of feeling a little uninvested in the last 5 minutes because despite things being wrapped up there, I do feel as though that point was like, okay, let's stop now. We've had enough. Let's just end the movie now. And it wasn't really developing anything that was that interesting, in my opinion. There was one moment in particular in the third act that was really emotionally manipulative, I thought. And that kind of dragged it down a bit. But most of the movie is great. Like, over half of the movie is great. It's just that the movie kind of falls apart once we get to the third act, because it kind of feels like a lot has happened, but not only did we not have that much time to develop certain things or make it interesting or anything like that, but also at the same time, it just felt like they were just thrown away, and anything that wasn't properly developed, it's just like, that happened, let's just kind of forget about that. And even if we do bring it up later in the film, it doesn't really feel conclusive in any way. And the only other thing that I haven't mentioned about this movie in terms of positives was that there are a few sex scenes in this movie, and they're all very funny. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's just the context in which they take place is just always amusing to me. So definitely check this movie out. It's not as good as Parasite or any of Bong Joon-ho's Korean language films, but I would say this is my favorite English language film that he directed so far. So check this movie out whenever you get the chance. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Mickey 17 a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Mickey 17 and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Fruitville Station. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.